Welcome back to the freaking Jeep garage. Today we're going to do something a little different. I know. It's been done. It's been recorded to death and done by lots of other creators. But I'm doing a brake upgrade for a 4th gen F body. And this one is probably a little less known. I'm not using a kit from, Big Brakes or Bear or Willwood or any of your favorite name brands. I got just a regular day job, so I'm on a budget like most of you are. But what I have done with my research is I've taken a look at some parts and done some homework, and to be honest, I already have it fitted up on the car on one side. But I'm going to show you what I got. I've got a whole table full of parts here, the kind of the stock stuff, and the stuff that I'm using, and a couple of the tools that you'll need that you probably don't have in your toolbox, but you may want. So yeah, let's take you over to the table. Okay, I got this all laid out on the table for you. I'm going to sit down because I'm too tall for this table, being practically a giant. Camera isn't always friendly to my size, but as you can see, I got a whole table full of parts. A lot of you can figure out what they are, but I'll show you. I'll explain the parts. So your this is a LS1 Trans Am. So that's the rotors. They're like, I don't know, 11.7 or 11.8 inches. Pretty big rotor, pretty stout, heavy. They do hold up well. Factory calipers, the same basic, calipers that they use on all of them. It's 2-piston, and they supply ample braking power, realistically, especially for a daily driver. But I wanted to do something upgraded, so what I did was I found some Brembos. Now these aren't the fancy ones you get that are painted or come powder coated all bright red or yellow off of an exotic car or anything. These are just Cadillac. They're even, if you actually can see here, it says Cadillac. These are ATS calipers. I believe they're the same thing on the SUV crossover, whatever that is called. I don't know right offhand, but that's what I started out with. They're 4-piston Brembo. They're actual Brembos. They're not just here and painted with the name, but on the backside they're actually casted in there. You use a Scotch-Brite, scuffed them all up. Use some caliper paint. You can get them powder coated if you'd like. I didn't have anybody available to do some powder coating, but that's what I did. Turns out very nice, a nice shiny black. I've got some stickers on order. They haven't shown up yet. But yeah, so we go from this to this. And then we're using a rotor. Oh, these calipers are like, I believe a 2012 ATS and up. I don't know if it's regular ATS or ATS-V, but they're off a Cadillac ATS. And then my rotors here, these are like 12.6, 12.4. They're about an inch bigger than the standard rotor. And these came from a 2013 Corvette. They slide right on, they fit just right with the calipers. The only thing you'll need, make sure you got some bolts for your calipers, and you'll probably need some washers, a washer, or you have to shave the end of the bolts off because the bolts will contact the back of the rotor if you don't space them out. Not a big deal, right? So once we got these on, most wheels are going to hit the face. There's no way around it. You could grind this, but I don't feel comfortable grinding on the caliper. So I'm going with spacers. Now, depending on your setup, you may need quarter. I got 3/8 because I want a little bit more gap. But when you're adding spacers, guess what? Your lugs are going to be too short. So we have to get longer ones. As you can see, they're slightly longer, and they got threads all the way to the end, so they're more usable. We'll have to put those in, right? To install those, you need a tool. Well, you don't, but these tools are really handy. You can get these off of like off the, you know, I got mine from that Jungle website, but you can probably get them from your local parts store or your tool dealer. All this is a heavy press and a bearing on it so that you can press them on. You need a lug nut. So you can put that so you can install those longer lugs. Of course, you'll need new brake pads. These are basically a standard Brembo brake pad. And you'll need some hardware to hold them in place. And then I went through and I got me some, you know, stainless steel braided brake lines. The brake lines on this car are 25 years old, and they're rubber. So they're to the point, it's probably smart to change them, you know, just over time they deteriorate. So we're going to put some stainless steel ones on, of course the hardware for that. Drill bit. You'll need like a 9/16 or 14 millimeter drill bit, because these bolts for the Brembos are slightly bigger than the stock ones to hold the caliper hangers on. So you need a drill bit and your trusty drill so you can drill them out. It only takes a few minutes. And realistically, if you shop around, like I got my calipers here off of an auction website, the big one. I got a pair of them for less than $200. I shopped around and I got my rotors for about 60 bucks. Yeah, I know. I got them on sale. I got a good deal on them. They may, depending what brand you get, they may cost you a whole lot more. Plan on a couple $100 for a pair of rotors like this. These rotors came with brake pads as a set, so if you don't, you'll have to make sure you get that. If you don't have bolts that don't come with your calipers for whatever reason, they're like, I don't know, $10 off of the Jungle website. You'll have to find yourself some wheel studs. They aren't cheap. I got those off of the Jungle website too. 10 of them for 40 bucks, I believe it was. And then you'll need your spacers, and spacers can run you anywhere from $25 to $100 for a pair. They can. I would recommend hub-centric. I couldn't find hub-centric in the size that I wanted and get them here in the time frame that I was looking to do this. So yeah, you add it up, you got 4, 5, 6, I got about $600 in parts. And mind you, with none of this being anything special from like Willwood or Bear or anything like that, anything you need to replace or repair, like these rotors for replacements, or if you have a caliper that seizes up on you or gives up or starts leaking, whatever, you can go right to the parts store and you can get yourself one. Your local parts store might not have it in stock, but they can get you a replacement. So just a standard Corvette rotor, just a standard ATS caliper. And the best thing about this kit, they'll fit on they'll fit a 17-inch wheel, where a lot of people are using 5th gen Camaro rotors, and which are like 13.5 inch, I think, and they're using like CTSV calipers. So a lot of those, obviously they're bigger, they fill the wheel nicer, true, but a lot of those you're kind of stuck running an 18-inch wheel. So I have done that. I could have gone that route. I have 18-inch wheels on mine, but I wanted to do something that was budget friendly and easy for the average Joe. So let's take these parts. We'll get the car down here and start taking it apart, and let's show you what it takes to put this stuff on. And then we'll see what it looks like afterwards. There we go. Get this wheel off. Okay, we've got the wheel off now. You can see, previous owner painted them blue. That wouldn't have been my choice, but it is what it is. We're gonna get them off, get them out of the way. Up here in the north, brake lines tend to rust and stuff, and you know, your car may not have rusty brake lines. You know, if you're in the south, not very likely, but now is a good time to go through and replace your brake lines. I went to the Popular Jungle website, I think, and I ordered a whole set, pre-bent front ones for this car. Actually, when I did the engine a couple years ago. I may put that video up, I might not, we'll see. But I got nice stainless steel ones, pre-bent, they fit right in place, all replaced. I don't have to worry about them rusting again. So I did that. That's a nice way to be, you know, a precursor for this upgrade, or get it done right now. Gotta make a little room here, I guess. A little bit of a lip on there. Get them out of the way. My brake pads weren't gone, but they were getting pretty low. And then we got the rotor off, and there. And the really nice thing about this setup that I'm putting on, this upgrade, it's completely reversible. Other than you have to drill the spindle out a little bit bigger. Just drill them out slow. Even works with a 20-year-old drill. So I drilled the holes out on the spindle here. The factory ones, the factory holes are like 1/2 inch. And we're just upsizing them to 9/16. It isn't that much bigger. It won't affect how the rotor bolt, the stock caliper bolts on if you, for whatever reason, you want to put the stock ones back on. But I'm pretty sure once you try the braking with these upgraded ones, you're not going to want to go back. But that option is there. A little dab of grease on the end of these. And we'll take our kit here, slide this on, put a lug nut on. You could probably do this with a regular wrench if needed, but I'm going to cheat. I will recommend that when you're all done with this kit, drive it around the block, take it around a couple of blocks, then go home and re-torque your wheels, because even though you get these things tight, sometimes you might not have them tight, and after you drive they might seat themselves. You may have one or two that doesn't seat perfectly until you drive it. It's always just a good idea to check. And yes, I use an open-ended lug nut in case the stud pokes out the back. Just a stock factory style lug nut. That's all you need. It's on. Holes are drilled. Next we're going to have to get this caliper out of the way. I'm one of those oddball people. I put a pan underneath. When I take this apart, brake fluid is going to run out of it, so I'm going to just catch it in the pan so I don't make a big mess on the floor. Had to get spring clip out of the way. Okay, had a couple of text messages to take care of, so here we go. Yeah, put a cap on the brake line so that stops dripping everywhere. Or at least slows it down. There's the old one. Get back here at my makeshift table. So we've got a few things to do here yet. So my calipers, you can see, came with the factory brake lines. So they're a little too long for the application we have here. Not saying that they won't work, but we've got nice new aftermarket ones to use. Just like that. Of course, they're a different size. But the biggest thing we got to put on here, now that we got this out of the way, we got to put some brake pads on. So, got to make sure that you got good hardware, good pins and stuff here. Some people may want to do this in the car with them mounted, which is probably easier, but I'm gonna, not that you guys can see very well what I'm doing here because my big hands are in the way, but there's holes in the corners. Just tap the pin in. Now these are used calipers, so they actually came complete with brake lines and everything on them, so I didn't have to buy any extra hardware or anything like that. I just cleaned the hardware up and that's what we're using. There. Pretty simple stuff there. To take it apart, just need a punch, small punch, and you just tap the little pin ends, pop them out, and you can change your brake pads. Technically, you don't even have to disassemble anything. All you gotta do is pop the pins out in this spring plate, and you can change caliper or change the brake pads right on the car. Now that we've got this assembled, we will take it back and we'll go put it on the car. There we go, back by the car. With this being Corvette stuff, they literally bolt right on. Nothing special, you don't have to bore out the centers, you don't have to have your hubs turned down. The Corvette uses the same spindles, so, or front wheel bearings, hub bearings, so these are direct fit. Just put a little turn on there so that they're out a little bit. There. Bring you in here a little bit, maybe. Hard, I guess it's kind of hard to see, but they are centered. The rotor is centered on the caliper, right where they need to be. No extra grinding, no extra spacing, just the washer I put on the bolt to make the bolt a little shorter so it doesn't hit the rotor when it's in all the way. The brake lines I have here are from Stop Tech, and these have a 12mm bolt on them. Take my cap off there. Get those threaded in. You gotta loosen this bracket up a little bit so I can get that spring clamp to hold the brake hose back in. If I can find it. Be right back. And of course the battery died just as I was getting ready to do that, but I had to take the bracket off so I could get that little spring retainer clip back in that holds the actual brake hose to the frame here. Okay. Do a little brake cleaner here. Use that stuff to get it all cleaned up, get that brake cleaner off there so it doesn't eat paint and stuff off. That, and we'll have to check for leaks. So now we're about ready to bleed. Alright, now all that's left is bleeding. Now, since these are used, there's actually brake fluid in them, so I already bled the other side. It bled out really easy. The front sides didn't have any air in them, and the back barely had. Basically what was in the air hose, in the brake line itself, this little bit of air that's from here to here. That's all I got to bleed out. I'm just letting the gravity bleed. I have a tube or a hose put on the top of the caliper here, going into the bottle over here. So I can see already, maybe I can zoom in here. You can see the brake fluid coming up here. There's actually air bubbles coming up in it right now. That little bit of white you see up here, that's just air bubbles. And that's what's left of the air that was in the hose. And close this up. Now I'm ready to pump them up. Okay, I just pumped them up. By doing that, I just pushed a little bit of fluid through the hose to, there was a little bit of gap in between the pads and the rotor. Pads are now touching the rotor, so I know I've pushed some fluid in there. That means any air that was left in the line should be here when I crack this open, and I can see just a couple of bubbles coming through. Perfect. Okay, all the air is bled out. Now, it's just a matter of putting the wheel on, and we'll see once we can get this out the door and take it for a little ride. Since I painted these and not used powder coat, I gotta make sure I wipe the brake fluid off. Otherwise they'll eat the paint off. Ideal would be to use a hub-centric spacer. I couldn't find one in a 3/8. I have some 1/4-inch ones that are, which I may end up running. I guess we'll see. I like the space that the 3/8 ones give me versus the 1/4 though. Wheels are pretty dirty, they gotta get washed up yet. Looks pretty nice now. Got lots of clearance. All right, I'm back in the shop. As you can see, I got the car back in the rack spot. Nothing wrong, nothing wrong. I do have to check to make sure I don't have any leaks, you know, standard stuff like that. Retorque the wheels. I did take it for a short ride to try the brakes out, and driving normal around town, they feel normal, which is great. And where I notice a little bit better braking is when I got on the brakes hard, like coming down an off ramp off the highway. And it doesn't take a whole lot of pedal pressure to really reel in that stopping. So I'm pretty happy with them, and we're going to see long term how they hold up, but I don't foresee any problems with them. If you like this, make sure you're subscribed if you're not already, and if you got any questions, leave me a comment down below. I'll try to answer them, and otherwise I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching. Bye. Hey there. I know this car is pretty loud, pretty obnoxious, but I gotta say, it's definitely an upgrade with these brakes. Nice and firm. Not a lot of pedal pressure either.